the Grammy Awards for 2025 are in the books. There was a lot of history that was made. There were a lot of big moments that we definitely have to get to and address in this show. And we're gonna definitely going to get to that stuff because there's quite a bit to talk about here. But before we dive too deep into everything and some of the big winners of the night and some of the, I guess, the biggest takeaways from this year's Grammys, just want to start off and ask, did you watch any of the telecasts? Did you see any of the performances, any of the acceptance speeches, tributes, anything of that nature? What was your overall thoughts and takeaways from this year's Grammy ceremony in Los Angeles?
Yeah, I caught stuff kind of in and out. I was at a friend's birthday dinner, but I was able to watch, some stuff on my phone, hear some news on my phone, catch some red carpet things on my phone as well. Red carpet was pretty cool. I think it was really nice seeing so many. I think celebrities I kind of haven't seen in a red carpet in a while just kind of be present and to see kind of newer generation and older generations kind of interacting. Like it was cool to see like Kai Cenat and Will Smith. I was like, oh wow, I would have thought that I would see those two people on a red carpet together. But it was really cool, I think, to get a sense of things like that. What was weird on the red carpet, and I know you've seen this, was the ladies that was interviewing Babyface.
Oh, from AP,
Then
yeah.
yep, and then decided to who did they interrupt Babyface for?
I
I
don't
forgot
even
who it
know. I
was.
think it was Chaperone. I
It
think
might
that's
have
who
been
they saw.
Chaperone. I was like, y'all can't wait till Babyface is done. I think that was crazy. I know a lot of people have been talking about that, but I seen that and I was like, whoa, this is very interesting what we're doing here. But the award show itself, Trevor Noah was back, doing what he needed to do. And I got to see Doja's performance, Chaperone's performance, and I think, and I seen Charlie XCX performance too. I missed some of the ones I wanted to see. I didn't get to see the Quincy Jones tribute. Unfortunately, I can't wait to watch that. But what I did see, I thought everything was damn well pretty good. Doechii went bananas, of course, and I seen almost everybody that I was rooting for. I seen all of their speeches. I seen Kendrick's speech. I seen Beyonce's speech. I seen Doechii's speech. And yeah, man, for the most part, I think this was a really good Grammys. Usually, there's so many Grammy shows, and I'm left like, oh, of course they did that again. Oh, of course they did this again. But I don't know. This year actually felt like a decent year in terms of the awards that were given out, the winners. I like most of the performances, if not all the performances. I thought the energy was pretty decent this year in this year's Grammy, so it actually felt good, and I think this was one of the better Grammys I've seen in a while.
It helps also when there's actually a really really solid year of music. 2024 was a pretty good year overall, I
Yeah,
think, across the board. A lot of big moments, obviously, some of them that ultimately kind of crescendoed in this particular show. But I got a chance to check out most of the show, and yeah, it was a pretty good award show overall. A lot of the performances, I think they had great picks for the people that took the stage and actually performed for the most part, and everybody pretty much showed up and delivered and did what they needed to do. The speeches were all good, and the big thing about this show is that it's in the wake of some pretty major events in the country. It's the
hmm
first major award show to take place in this now second presidency of Donald Trump. And it's also the first really, really major award show to take place after the wildfires in Southern California. So there was a
hmm
very, very keen focus, I think, on those two issues. Of course, the wildfires, there were a lot of different messaging throughout the show. There was a lot of relief and aid, things that you can contribute to in the show if you chose to. And then, of course, they had the firefighters of Southern California present album of the year, which was a really, really classic thing to do. And then, of course, like with the speeches themselves, they focused a lot on what we're hearing and seeing with the country every day. There were a lot of people who brought up issues of immigration and just like what's going on right now. Obviously, LGBTQ issues. I think these big award shows, as we'll continue to talk about and see throughout the rest of the season, they're always a reaction to typically what's going on in the country at the time, especially when it comes to the presidency and the political nature of just everything that's going on. And a lot of people use their platform or their speeches to kind of address those things. And so it was all very much front and center there. But overall, I think it was a really, really solid award show. I think a pretty big win for the Grammys. Got a lot of the winners right as well, I think, for a lot of people's money, which is also something that goes a long way in terms of just the
hmm
perception and the excitement around the Grammys. Add that on top of some really, really good performances, a couple of good tributes, and overall, really, really solid show across the board. But let's not bury the lead any further. This was a huge night for three particular reasons. First and foremost, we have to start off and talk about Kendrick Lamar, King Kendrick, who I
Yes,
think has
sir.
to be considered the MVP of this year's Grammy Awards. He was nominated for 5 different awards for Not Like Us, swept every single category, walked away with Best Music Video, Best Rap Performance, Best Rap Song, Record of the Year, and Song of the Year, making Not Like Us the most decorated rap song in Grammy history. And now he's only the second rap artist to win both Record of the Year and Song of the Year after Childish Gambino did it in 2019. So this was an incredibly huge night. Not Like Us is becoming the first diss song ever to be acknowledged at the Grammy Awards, nonetheless win these major awards.
Mm-hmm.
Add that on top of the fact that it was a complete sweep, and this all happened before he even dropped an album. He's just being nominated for this one track,
One
which
song.
we talked about recently and debated whether or not this could be considered maybe the biggest diss track ever. I think after last night, there's no more discussion. I think that this pretty much cements it, because what other record has achieved this level of success and has become such a cultural phenomenon? What are your thoughts just about what this all means, how this just continues to add on to the narrative of the year that he had in 2024 after the beef with Drake, and just how he continues to win and win and win again? And the season, even the end of it, because we're about to roll into
Mm-hmm.
this halftime show in 6 or 5 days here and see him perform the song once again in front of the largest television audience possible.
No, I think that's one of the craziest things about all of this is I think in the grand scheme of what happened at the end of the year when dropping GNX with, Not Like Us kind of still on the airwaves, was everybody's thinking like, oh my God, Andy's about to form it at the halftime show. It's almost like we kind of forgot about what might happen at the Grammys and how things might go down at the Grammys. In the sea, all those people, with 13,000 people in a room of the industry, of the recording academy, musicians, record producer, like all of these people singing A minor in the loudest way possible while Kendrick Lamar is taking the stage is, I didn't think about it until it happened, and it was crazy. It was just really interesting and amazing to see. And I think, you said it, this cements it as the greatest diss track of all time, at least the greatest diss record of all time. And so it's Kendrick, when you say like victory laps, I mean, it's just, I still can't even believe what we're talking about right now, because even GNX wasn't even eligible for Grammys this year. Guess what's going to be on the ballot next year? GNX is going to be right there on the ballot for best rap album next year. And it's just like, dude, it's kind of crazy, the lineup that he set up for himself. And like you said, the after this is happening, people are going to be talking about this all week. Super Bowl happens, people are going to be talking about the whole week after that. Is right after that the tour starts. It's just a lot going on in the camp of Kendrick Lamar, and what can you say, man? He's on top. He's been on top, and he will remain on top.
We haven't really seen anything like this. This is new waters, unprecedented territory. It's just never gone down in this way for a solo artist to dominate a rap beef and pretty much take down the guy who's considered the most commercially successful hip hop artist in history, bar none. It's not even a close discussion. Take him down so convincingly and so decisively, and then to just continue that momentum into everything that we've seen, whether it be the pop out concert or the album or the halftime show announcement. And as you said, I think that that's a really excellent point that you made, that we kind of forgot about all of the hoopla with the Grammys because of just the Super Bowl and the magnitude of what that's going to look like next week. The fact that he's even in contention for Record of the Year and Song of the Year, and then wins these awards pretty much back to back. I mean, I was shocked in the moment, but in hindsight, when you retroactively look at it, I mean, there was no bigger song last year. There was no bigger track that came out besides Not Like Us. It was literally a cultural phenomenon that touched every corner of culture. Everybody knew what that song was about. Everybody commented on the beef and what was happening. Like, I had my mom and my parents who, they don't listen to current day hip hop. They knew what was going on. It's just stuff like that where you can't manufacture a movement or a moment like that, and it's all just being validated in this moment here with winning these awards. Not that it needed any further validation, because we've already known the impact that the record has, but my goodness, Record of the Year and Song of the Year at the Grammys. This is really, really unbelievable shit that we're talking about here. I mean, let's just not forget, and let's not let it be lost on us, just the magnitude of what this means. And he released all of this stuff before the wildfires in LA, but I think we'd be remiss to not mention like everything that LA is going through, and the fact that Not Like Us is a song that is just bigger than just like a beef diss track. It does encompass West Coast culture and LA culture. And so the fact that there is like this rallying cry of a song that people can still listen to in the midst of really, really challenging times in LA due to the wildfires and everything that they're going through with the relief and the aid, it's also something to say. So there was really no other winner. I mean, it was never really possible for anybody to come from behind and try to take this award away from Kendrick. It's just really unbelievable stuff. I mean, we got to talk about the biggest supervillains in hip hop at this point. I mean, he got to be at the top spot of the list because goddamn, he's been whipping ass since last spring. Like, good God, I would hate to be on the receiving end of this and just to have to deal with this over and over and over again. But alas, here we are. The other big winner, of course, we got to talk about Beyonce with Cowboy Carter. She was the most nominated artist at this year's Grammy Awards, nominated for 11 awards, walked away with 3 awards, which included Best Country Album for Cowboy Carter. She became the first Black artist to win Best Country Album and also the first Black woman to win Album of the Year since Lauryn Hill did it in 1999. People have been wanting Beyonce to win this award, have been protesting and debating the fact that she should have been acknowledged in this category many, many times. In particular, last year, we talked about this after she lost out to Taylor Swift, but she's been nominated numerous times in the Album of the Year category, which we know is the biggest award of the night, and she's just always come up short. Now, it was finally apparent, and it finally happened for her that she won Album of the Year for Cowboy Carter. I must go ahead and pat myself on the back. Went ahead and predicted this 10 months ago. We reviewed Cowboy Carter on the podcast, and it came out right after last year's Grammys, and it felt like that this was the moment for her, just due to everything that happened in the past, and also just, the call that Jay-Z made to the Grammys on stage last year. It was like, oh, well, he put y'all on blast. We know she has this really, really experimental album coming out that's going to cross genres and different boundaries and all sorts of things. It just felt like the moment for her. And, even though I predicted it, I was still nervous in the moment. I was still like, they're probably gonna screw her over again. And I didn't think Taylor Swift was gonna win, but I thought that they might have given it to like one of the new girls, like Sabrina Carpenter or Charlie XCX or something like that. But Beyonce did walk away with the Cowboy Carter Album of the Year, also Best Country Album, and she also won Best Duo with the song that she has with Miley Cyrus. What are your big takeaways from Beyonce just being finally crowned with the biggest award at the Grammys?
Yeah, finally is the word. Finally is the word. There's just Beyonce has continuously put out, I think, just really groundbreaking and important work and albums over these years. That every time you look at an album, you're like, wait, that didn't get Album of the Year. Wait, that didn't get Album of the Year. I mean, Renaissance and Self-Titled and just so many albums that you're just like, what are we doing here? And so, yeah, the word is finally, man. This is definitely Martin Scorsese in The Departed. You know what I'm saying? This is Al Pacino, Scent of a Woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the makeup call finally for Beyonce in this album, man. I'm really happy to see that it finally happened and she finally got it and she deserves it. And it felt good too. Like it wasn't like a, oh, I guess we got to give it to her now. I was like, no, she earned this. Like, this is amazing. This album really is phenomenal. The Beyonce Bowl, Netflix, Halftime Christmas was really good. And now it's time for her to go on tour. So, like, I don't know. It all just kind of felt like good energy to me when she won it. I like, and it's funny watching her face. I'm like, you know, he's finna win that award. Stop acting surprised. You know, no, but I'm with you though. I was also nervous in the moment. I'm like, oh, here we go. Like, I wonder if they really are gonna do the thing again and not give it to her, but they did. And it felt good, man. I'm really happy. I think to be here and now. We don't have to drag Grammys through the mud every year for this being the case. And I was like, okay, you finally did it. Now we can move on and talk about some other stuff. But yeah, I'm really happy for Beyonce. And Cowboy Carter deserves it, man. It really is a tremendous album.
I mean, it never made sense. The woman has literally been nominated 99 times at the Grammys. 99 nominations. She's the most nominated artist in Grammy Awards history. However, she never won the big one, and she's been nominated for Album of the Year, I think no less than 5 times at this point. So there's been plenty of opportunities. But as you said, this is the Make Good Award because I think a lot of people, myself included, would not say that Cowboy Carter is her best work. She certainly should have won. Lemonade felt like it was really the moment. Like, that was the true crowning achievement when it could have happened, and it didn't happen that year. However, the fact that it's come, I'm glad that we can all die peacefully and not say, wow, Beyonce never won Album of the Year at the Grammys. Now we can walk away and say, like, yeah, that happened, because she's just been such a culturally resonant and relevant artist for 30 years. And, just dominated in every category that she's tackled throughout her illustrious career. And so finally to
Hmm.
have this acknowledgement, again, not that she needed the validation any further, but it is one of those things where you just look in the history books and you look at all the greats throughout the years of people that have been decorated and acknowledged by the Grammy and Recording Academy. You know, these are the biggest awards in music. And so I think you want this to accurately reflect where people are in the moment in time and what most fans were really listening to and actually developing relationships with, and what actually moved the needle. And every time Beyonce drops a new project, that's what she always does. She's always moving the needle and always just causing just a lot of conversation around her projects. And as you mentioned, now going on tour, just announced the Cowboy Carter tour officially happened. And I told some people, everybody's been speculating about this, and I'm like, it's a tour, guys. Like
We know
she's
what it is.
she's
Yeah.
going on tour, but
Hmm.
she is doing something a little different. She's playing a very, very limited amount of dates. It's the Chitlin circuit, which people did speculate and wonder, like, is she going to do something that's a little bit more limited compared to her
Hmm.
previous big blown out world tours? She's taken over 9 cities, only 9 cities she's going to be visiting, but she has about, I think, 22 different tour dates right now. Any early predictions or things that you envision from this show? Because this is going to be unlike any production that she's done before, because it is so cowboy centered and cowboy themed. I think we got a little bit of a taste of that
Hmm.
at the Beyonce Bowl, but the fact that this is somewhat of a limited engagement, which is probably just going to make it. I mean, I don't know, maybe the most expensive tour ticket of all time. That's going to be.
No.
I
Yeah.
hate to see the tour prices coming. I really do. But what do you envision from this upcoming trek that she's going to be taking over this upcoming spring and summer?
I'm really not sure yet. Part of me likes the idea of when I think of production design, part of me likes the idea of just a rodeo setup where there is no real floor seat, but like there's a lot going on in the center of everything. I kind of like that idea, and I think that'd be really cool if she went through with something like that. Because of course for Renaissance, the floor seats was a big thing. It was like Club Renaissance, a lot of people was on the floor, this and that. I think it'd be really cool if she could find a way to make it a little more interactive and feel more rodeo cowboyish by making it very very similar, to that feel. So I really don't know what's going to happen, but I know there's definitely some surprises. We Renaissance kind of already was like everything. She went top to bottom in that Renaissance concert. She did
Man.
it all. So Cowboy Carter, we know she's going to do Cowboy Carter, but in my back of my head, I'm like, okay, but what else? What does that mean? How many older songs are you going to do? A lot of us just kind of went through that. So I know there's something, she has something up her sleeve. It's just hard for me to tell exactly what that is yet. But I don't know, man. You have any ideas?
I think you might be onto something in the idea that the traditional floor area probably won't be available for seating, and that she might take
Mm-hmm.
over an entire floor area, or maybe half of it or 3/4 of it, to really
Mm-hmm.
have this expansive rodeo like setup. I could see something like that happening, because she kind of perfected it with what she did with the Beyonce Bowl, like using
Yeah.
a large
Mm-hmm.
amount of area and canvas. But that's a really difficult thing to pull off. I know every artist that ends up performing at the Super Bowl, one of the big challenges that they always note is, like, we have so much space and you have to take up all that
Mm-hmm.
space on the football field. That's a really
Mm-hmm.
challenging thing to do, because you pretty much have to have something going on in every area. You have to figure out how to fill that empty space with something. And that could be performers, that could be backup dancers, singers, a set, something of that nature. But if anybody could do it, she could certainly pull it off. And so I wouldn't be surprised if that was something that she leaned into for the show, because she is visiting stadiums once again. So you
Yeah.
you sort of need that huge ground to cover, if she does intend to do a rodeo like setup. But one thing we certainly can't question or count out is her ability to always shock and surprise us. So I certainly
Mm-hmm.
don't doubt that when the tour kicks off, it's going to be something that we've quite never seen before in terms of a musical tour. So I'm super excited for the Cowboy Carter tour. Last big winner that I think we should highlight, Doechii. Doechii had an incredible showing. You mentioned her performance throughout the night. She killed it once again. I mean, she's just already cemented herself as one of the most exciting performers in music right now, especially in hip hop. And she did actually win the best rap album category, the biggest rap award that you can win for the night. So pretty much she was the only other artist not named Kendrick Lamar to pick up a Grammy award this year. And she is now, only the third Black woman to win in that category, following Lauryn Hill and Cardi
Mm-hmm.
B, who actually presented her the award for the night, for Alligator Bites Never Heal. What were your thoughts on just that moment, seeing Doechii walk away with that trophy, just considering the year that she's had, the incredible body of work that mixtape or that album was, and just really, again, her making a name for herself and really just kind of taking off, and just I think now we can look and say like the sky's the limit for an artist like Doechii and just her creativity and her energy that she has.
Ooh, people know me. People know me. People know me. I've been here for Doechii for so long. I was at the concert last year. I got Doechii sweatshirts. I'm a huge Doechii fan, and to see her come from where she was all the way into not only winning a Grammy but performing at the Grammys that very same night it was everything. Of course for her, but for me as well. Just seeing, I think, the growth and the possibility that Doechii has in her pocket, and it's so impressive to me. If you really listen to Alligator Bites Never Heal, if you watch the Doechii interviews, if you listen to the things she has going on, this is a mixtape for her. Like, this is like of course she put her care and everything into it that she wanted to, but she was like, I don't want to put no album boundaries kind of on this thing. And it's just really cool, I think, to see her win. I'm like, dang, Doechii, like, of course this is your best, but is this your best? You know what I'm saying? Like, you won for a mixtape. This is insane, but it's so well deserved in the work she put in. So yeah, man, it's been really great, I think, to see her. It's funny, all three of these albums, artists, whatever, we've used on the podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've used Doechii, I've used Beyonce, I've used Kendrick on the package. Shoot, No Worries won an award today too. So I just love it. It just felt like everything was being appreciated that I appreciate, and Doechii was definitely, I think, at the top of that as well. And for a lot of people, she is a newer artist, and to see how she's so dominant already, she's only like 26. Man, when she said the sky's the limit, I mean, she's about to eat like for a very long time. So yeah, be ready to hear Doechii's name a lot more after today.
I mean, this is, if anything, if you've not listened to Alligator Bites Never Heal, like, this is your call to do so. Like, it's truly an incredible body of work, like, from top to bottom. And as you said, she has made it a very, very, very strong point to say, like, this is a mixtape, this is not an album. And that's something to be said about just like what she's preparing and gearing up for. There are rumors that she's planning to drop a full feature album, at some point this year, and to just see where she's been able to come in such a short amount of time, and just to see all of the ideas flourishing in her head really coming to life in these ways, whether it's the Tiny Desk performance or her performances elsewhere. I think she was on the Tonight Show at one point, gave an incredible performance here at the Grammys. It's just like over and over, we're seeing just how talented she is, man. I mean, she's really, really kind of a singular talent who just has a lot to offer, I think, for hip hop in the near future. And so I'm just super excited and super happy for her to win this award, because it truly was, out of what was nominated, it truly was the best in the category. So it went to the right person. Before we wrap up here, any other last thoughts or, sort of takeaways from the Grammys? I do want to quickly mention the tribute to Quincy Jones was really, really well thought out, really good. I like the narration from Will Smith, sort of intermittently. He sort of gave some stories and some anecdotes on top of the performances. There were also a couple of other good performances. Shakira was phenomenal. She was really, really incredible. I think she mentioned that she hadn't performed on the Grammy stage since 2017 or something like that. It's been like a long time. And I mean, she got up there and reminded folks like why she is who she is. I mean, them hips don't fucking lie at all, because all these years later, she can move her body like nobody else. And so I was just really taken aback by Shakira. And on top of the Doechii stuff, I really liked just the importance that they placed on Best New Artists. It was actually a really, really competitive category this year. It was stacked across the board. Like, it was really, really crazy. And the fact that they allowed all the individual nominees to perform in a medley of sorts and perform one after the other and then award, the winner of the night, that was a really cool concept and idea. I really liked that. And I just liked the emphasis on the future of music and just like where things are going to go over the next few years. So I thought that was a good touch too, from a production standpoint.
Yeah, because Best New Artist, it was really that stacked. You know what I'm saying? And I think these are not just new artists. Like, these are actually like people, they made a big splash in music this year. You know what I'm saying? Like, just thinking about Sabrina Carpenter by itself, it's just like, are you sure you're a Best New Artist? Like, you sure you knew? Are you positive you're new? Like, I'm not sure you're new. And so it's crazy, man. You said at the top, it was a really good year for music. And I'm honestly, my biggest takeaway is I'm hoping this year in music is good enough for the Grammys to be that good again next year. That's like my biggest takeaway, man. Like, I hope, let's do that again. That was a good Grammy show. I'm hoping we can just repeat that thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, folks, those are all of our thoughts on the 67th annual Grammy Awards. If you checked out the award show or you have any thoughts on the winners of the night, definitely hit us up and let us know what you think about it.